Hey everybody, welcome back to another rendition of Mir Musk special event NFL season takes. We got Chow in the house, we got ATP/Davis Garika, and we have special guest offensive tackle Mr. Todd Wade himself from the Miami Dolphins. Sir, it is a pleasure, it is an honor, and it is just a privilege to have you on the program today. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
So those who don't know this, like Todd literally lives down the hill from me, I guess you could say, right in Eleuthera.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell he's got a little sun on him.
Yeah, I just got back today. I went for like a 3-day kind of a work, kind of get after it, figure out what needs to be fixed, and
Right.
just kind of check up on the place. So kind of busy doing that. I looked at going surfing, but it wasn't. The wind direction wasn't right for Surfers Beach.
Yeah,
But
actually,
everybody
Todd,
else, go ahead.
this summer has been so dead. There's been like no wind other than when like Aaron came by. Like there's been like no.
Yeah. This it was cool seeing it. But me being more of a beginner surfer, I couldn't find nobody came out to Surfers Beach the entire time when I was out there. I was just waiting for one person, just for safety reasons, just to at least somebody could at least identify or tell, say what happened to me.
Before we get into your career, you actually had an issue here one time, right? I like with surfing.
Yeah. I guess you say that. Well, it was the sand. So much of the sand had been peeled back, and those rocks were exposed. I was coming down. I knew not to come in the spot, but then it's almost like all right, you can make it. Basically, tiptoe around those rocks. These are rocks like this, not big rock. I mean, there were small ones, but they're jagged.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I was right there in front, and I felt a wave coming, so I jumped back into the wave, and I was just trying to get up on my feet and then walk on out, but the waves never stopped, and they kept pounding me, and I would hold my breath and just go stay under for a while, and then you feel the wave getting ready to come, and it would just push me over those rocks and just drag me back. So it was cutting me up pretty good, but I was still trying to wait my time. I was trying to protect my face, and
Were you staying super calm in that, or were you having flashbacks of your life and everything?
At some point I was going to eventually have to just get up and either run across it and just tear my feet up and be done for the rest of the vacation.
Yeah.
or just eventually you can get so cut up. But so a couple of the guys ran down, and it kind of gave me just a hand to get out.
Right.
Yeah. I heard that. Yeah.
I got out. Well, it wasn't like a drowning thing. It was just basically getting
involved in the wreck.
I was in control of it, but I couldn't find the right time to get out.
Right.
So
when I first met Todd on the island, it was in front of a little liquor store here, right?
Good man.
Yeah, and it was funny because he told me I asked him, what do you do for a living, right? Because you see this big 6'8", 300-pound guy. It's like you don't see somebody like that every day,
right.
on the island. And then I don't know if you remember, Todd, but I was like reciting like because I'm a Raiders fan, the playoff game,
sure.
Right? Yeah. And I think you kind of looked at me like, who's this fucking guy? Like talking about a game from 25 years ago and remember like every detail, So, and then actually what's funny, we'll show some highlights in a little bit. When you were with the Dolphins as a right tackle, segue now into your like football career. That that is still to this day when you beat the Colts in overtime. That's the last playoff win the Dolphins have had.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Good man.
That was my rookie year. That was 2000.
Rookie year. Yeah. So
I do want to dive into your NFL career, but I kind of want to go back a little bit because I didn't ask this question with one of our UFC fighters, Sean McCorkle. I didn't ask him this, but I wanted to ask you this. What does it take for an individual, a young man, getting into his prime in college years to just be so dedicated into one aspect, just football? How did you manifest that mindset to just be all in on one thing completely and just erase everything else out of your mind? How did you come to that mentality?
Yeah, I think I always kind of wanted to play it. It was kind of a family thing too. My
Yeah.
dad played college. My granddad. Just it was just kind of
Generational.
Kind of what you did.
And Todd's from Mississippi, for those who don't.
Yeah, Ole Miss,
Big time.
Mississippi boy. So it's in the culture hard down there. So that makes sense.
But I'll say from seventh, 8th grade, I was just growing a ton. I grew like almost 10 inches in 2 years. So I wasn't that. I was just super skinny. Wasn't very good.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to change that. So I remember going. I think I was in 8th grade. Went to the high school weight room and asked like the strength coach / defensive coordinator to help. I remember starting off on the bench with a 10 on each side, stuff like that. And I was like 8th grade. So, but I really I worked hard. I felt like because I was told at that point I went from 5'7" to 6'4" in 2 years, and
oh wow,
yeah, and then I still grew 4 more inches after that. But
Jesus Christ,
yeah, so really, so I grew a ton, and I was always taller in my grade, but not extremely tall like I am now. So I just really just started training my butt off. I felt like I was doing a little extra.
Yeah.
Felt like that's just what I needed to do to win. I was tall at that point, had a big frame. I just needed to do everything I needed to do.
So
to be successful.
Right. So you go through Ole Miss, you're freaking killing it, man. Right. You get drafted, all that good shit.
Mid-second round, so pretty
high
pick.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah.
And then you get drafted by the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Walk me through your first time going into that facility with all the guys there. You're like, well, as a rookie.
Yeah. That's usually for like the mini camp, or when you get drafted, I don't know, it might be a week after or something like that. Whether it's a voluntary mini camp or the actual mini camp itself. At that point, that's when you no time is wasted. You almost wish you could slow down a little bit in a way because you're trying to learn things, but it's immediately you're into it, expected to do this, and so you're competing right off the bat. So even in the practice OTAs / mini camps, even though you have your helmet on, is about it. You're getting after it, and that was really surprising to me but everybody was so much more of a technician on both sides of the ball with their hands, so people weren't just falling down on the ground, and it wasn't a big mess, and nobody ever really gets hurt. Your helmets hit shoulders and stuff, but it's not
nothing too crazy.
It's a little more about the speed and tempo of it. I guess protecting your head, but but it ends up turning into a big, because you're trying. You're not talking to the defensive end about, hey, I'm going to move you off the ball. It's not a rehearsal, so you don't really. Someone's going to give a little extra effort. So when you know that, both people are going to both of you are going a little bit harder because nobody wants to look bad.
Right, and you don't want to get cut too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's trying to make the damn team.
That's right.
So I was going to ask you was so while you're going through training camp, did you just showcase your skill set right off the bat? I mean, were your coaches blown away, or did it take time for you to kind of get into the first reps, team reps?
I would think you kind of show glimpses or potential, and what you can do early on. You're trying to pick up the offense where you can play fast, not have to worry about things and second guess yourself. So, but you're really kind of watching a lot of that, seeing how they go about their day, learning from them, because it wasn't as intense as far as the preparations go. The mental prep wasn't the NFL.
And Todd played at an interesting time for the Dolphins. I think your rookie year was the first year that Dan Marino retired, right?
That's right. So
yeah. So
that was part of the reason for, I guess, we didn't have a first round pick my year.
Okay.
So, but I was a second round pick. But for them to choose an offensive lineman, in particular like a right tackle, for their first pick, it just kind of goes to show the mindset of what they're trying to do. They're going away from the Dan Marino era, and they wanted more of a balanced offense.
Well, who was your? Oh, go ahead, Chow. Go, sorry.
Before we get into that first season, can I go back to that draft for 1 second? Because the draft now is like its own Super Bowl. Like it's on TV. People talk about it every day for months and months and months. Back then, it was still big, but it wasn't as big. But that draft, you were drafted after Sebastian Janikowski, but before Tom Brady. So tell me about like the draft experience. Was there like, did you meet Brady beforehand? Did you like?
And I didn't really know who he was.
You were SEC. He was.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think now, if it was the same situation, I would have, just because of social media, or just there's so much more media in your face, so you just kind of have to, know who Michigan's quarterback is. I just don't remember. Maybe I remember, maybe Henson, who he was competing with. They kind of start. They take turns starting, but yeah. So it's kind of It is strange. Once you're done with your last bowl game or your last game, you're kind of like, okay, what's next? You're kind of deciding on your agent and who that's going to be, and then they send you somewhere to kind of work out and train for if you're going to the Senior Bowl, which I did. You start in January, so we started. You started eating right and doing. They sent us down to where IMG Academy is in Bradenton, Florida. It was called it was Nick Bollettieri. It's really like a tennis. Was really founded on tennis, the Bollettieri Institute, and they were partnered with IMG at the time, which now it became IMG Academy. But it was about 7 or 8 of us, my agent's clients, were down there. We just worked out every day, all the time, and it was a great place to be right after college. Just you're in Florida, you're in a new place, training. Everybody's kind of
mingling.
Yeah. You get to know those guys pretty well, and you're kind of just doing your thing. But then you go play the Senior Bowl. Then we come back. Then you go. You're getting ready for the combine, and then after that, that's over with. You're just kind of waiting around until the draft.
And by the way, did you know, like, say at the end of your college career, you're going to be a pretty high pick, or like was that?
I thought so. After
he goes, oh yeah, good man.
Well,
he goes, oh yeah.
After my senior year, I thought so.
Okay.
Yeah. But you had asked about the draft. So draft day, leading up to the draft, there were polls for me for anywhere in the first through third.
Okay.
And so, I landed in the middle really, but there were a couple that had me in the first, and at the time it was like, I think the Bucks had 2 picks.
So I have a question, because you're from Mississippi, right? And you're in between kind of like Louisiana, Northern Florida. Like, did you have a team you liked growing up?
I actually like Miami.
Oh, okay.
Hey, good man.
Fins
up.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm a big Raiders fan. I always think if I was ever good enough to be in the NFL, it's like if the Steelers drafted me, I'd be pissed off.
The Saints really was. That's a lot of people in Mississippi like the Saints. North Mississippi, you do have some Tennessee Titans, but there's a lot of Saints fans in Mississippi, and we never were. But it was more of being an '80s kid growing up and watching Miami Vice, and then seeing Dan Marino in commercials and
these guys
Ace Ventura.
Knowing how good.
Actually, Todd, you got to come to my house because I'm literally the biggest Miami Vice fan of all time. So
I know it pretty well.
no, I have like 10 Don Johnson like jackets in my like closet. So.
So you get drafted.
Well, I have Matt Tubbs, but
you get drafted. You go through training camp and everything
Dream
like that.
team.
Yep.
You're playing for South Beach, Miami.
Yep. You make the 53. You make the 53-man roster. You're fucking on cloud 9 right now.
Yeah. Well, okay. So training camp. Yeah, that was when training camp starts. That's really when you're, as a rookie. That's when you're good. If you want to start, if you're going to start, you better start playing really well pretty quick.
And if I'm correct, in 2000, that's also when Dave Wanstead took over for Jimmy Johnson, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when Dave left Chicago, he ended up coming to Miami, and then I think served some type of a
super fan Dan says
some type of management role, and then.
But by the way, that guy was the same guy who sent me the picture with you and then Vanilla Ice, just so you know.
Yeah, Dan wants to know, hey Todd, how awesome was Lamar Smith 40 carry game?
Oh, that was great. We were definitely trying to force the run. We got Lamar, which is a smooth back. He's really patient, but he could just hit it. He was strong. Really enjoyed blocking for him. But it was one of those things that it was strange for me as a rookie. I'm playing the Colts for the third time in the season, and that's they're in a division, then playing them again. After. Yeah,
for those who are
played them 3 times in 2 months or something.
For those who are a little younger and unaware, like that was like still when there was like 5-team divisions, and the Colts were still in the AFC East, right? So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So, so you pass training camp, and you get that game. You make the 53-man roster, so you're going to game 1. What was your mindset going to game 1 and then eventually getting onto the field? Run me through that in your mind.
Well, if you back up, I guess about I want to say maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
During those preseason games, it was that I think I had me at the 3rd team right tackle, and around that the third preseason game, I took over. So then I was starting before before preseason ended, and then.
So what do you think of preseason today, where they don't even barely play these guys anymore? Because I remember, because we're about the same age. I'm 47, you're 48, in a month I'm 48, and 2 months you're 49. But I remember that they used to have 4 preseason games, and the third game the starters would play almost 3 quarters, right? And now they barely even play these guys. So what do you think about that as well?
I thought the way they did it with us was fine.
Yeah.
You got to play ball at some point. You can't just be too scared and holding people out. But now, I don't know how much the third game, for instance. Usually the first game you usually play, the starters will play a quarter.
Yeah.
Then you're playing almost till halftime in the second one, and then the third one you go out halftime, then one series, and then you're done. Then the fourth game you play maybe a quarter or a couple of drives,
right.
and that's it. But I thought the old way was fine. I don't think anything's wrong with it. So I don't know. I know you can say people are making a lot more money now, but the game's bigger. I mean, it's just there's more money. There's also
because
they're investing a lot into these guys.
I find now early in
I don't understand. Well, why we wouldn't, because you want your guys to be in shape and be in game shape, because you really that's where you're. If you want to get in football shape, you have to play football. You can't run. It doesn't work.
I find now, early in the season, the games are sloppy too, because I don't think the guys play enough in preseason. That's my opinion. I could be totally wrong.
That's probably a good point. Whenever you start training camp, especially back in the day, they're doing 2-a-days and morning practices.
Exactly.
but you're doing those 9-on-7, those inside drills, and initially a lot of guys it's automatic every year at the beginning of training camp. You hear the coaches get off the ground, get off the ground. It's because people are falling down because they're not used to that struggle of push pull with everybody. You haven't been doing it that live for a large part of that year. So,
and you also played in Houston. Like, what were 2 days like in Houston and Miami in summer? It must have been rough.
I never got a break with that. I had nothing but old school coaches my whole career.
Well, Todd, I got it. I know.
Joe Gibbs.
Yeah, he played for. Just so you know, like when he ended his career, he played for Washington. He played for Joe Gibbs, and actually,
On his comeback, when Joe Gibbs came back, right, for a little bit.
Yeah. So, and
nice.
Joe Bugle, who was like probably maybe the best offensive line coach in NFL history, was Todd's O-line coach when he played with Washington. Yeah.
I was gonna say on the practice thing, like I think back in the day, the teams would take like a bus and like go for like a week to like a small town far away from the stadium, and it'd be like more of like a team building thing. So
yeah,
I know a lot of teams that switch. Were you ever part of that, or would you guys always just kind of stay at the like main facility?
Yeah, I feel like the furthest one. We always used our facility generally, unless you're going in scrimmage against another team. When I was with the Dolphins, we'd go up to Orlando and scrimmage against Tampa Bay, or someone else. But generally, it was where a team would come down and to our facility and play. But no, a lot of teams did that. It seemed like a lot of the Midwest teams all did
Bears
that.
and Vikings for sure did it. I don't know about the Packers, but yeah, they go
like the Raiders always
away.
used to train in Napa, right? So like back in the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. So yeah.
There's probably a spectrum. Like some teams are going too soft in the preseason, and then it'll swing back to like hard-nosed teams will be the trend for a bit in the preseason. So you know how it is.
But no coach ever wants to be accused by the media of being too soft. That was always the fear. So
I mean, look at Jerry Sandusky. You don't want to be too soft.
I didn't go to Penn State. Come on, give him a break.
I forgot what I was saying now.
But no. But
actually, Todd, there's a great story.
Give
me a second. Let me just tell the story because he played in Houston. That Bum Phillips. Ken Stabler told us. I don't know if you remember. Stabler played a few years.
Oh yeah.
In Houston after he left the Raiders, and he said like Bum Phillips they're supposed to do 2-a-days, and he'd be like, they're in the Houston in that humid, hot weather in the summer, and Phillips would be like, man, it's hot out here. Let's stop and have some beers, And he would end it after one practice. And I guess going twofold. That's why his teams were always good because guys were like, we're going to play for this guy. But on the other hand, he probably wasn't a hard enough ass where they could win like a Super Bowl or whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely ways to hold your players accountable.
Yeah.
Have discipline at the same time, and also which includes being in shape. But I think there's ways of. I think, my mentality is still very old school with most things regarding football. But the 2-a-days thing, it was meant to get people back in shape way back in the day. That had, there was no off season. They had second jobs in the off season.
When you were with Houston, what was because I'm a Raiders fan, so obviously with Derek Carr. You played with David Carr, and he wasn't the greatest quarterback, but I have to say one thing about that guy: he could take a pounding. What was like playing with him?
David, super nice guy, talented, had a really good arm, mobile too, but it's it was tough.
Well, walk me through. Let's go back to your first game start. Walk me through what was going through your mind, when you when you got on the O-line on the first play to defend your quarterback in an NFL game in your first NFL start. Walk me through that in your head. Tell me the emotions that were going through you when you made it finally.
That's what I meant earlier when I talked about the preseason game of getting that starting job. So once you get it, that's at that point I knew I made it. If you know what I mean.
Right, but an NFL game means more though. You know, like
absolutely. We played Seahawks at home.
A home game, good.
fuck yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
How was
yeah.
that like emotion? You know, when you're there, first game of the season.
It was great, and because it's everything just gets faster. Yeah, so by the time the regular season game, it's all its own, you know, and everybody's getting everybody's.
It's his own beast.
Yeah, a little extra something. So it's it was I had a good supporting cast. The guy to my right, the right guard to my left, Kevin Donnelly. He was really helpful with me in my rookie year. Fun to play with, good partner. Had good tight ends, and it had people around me were really good, and I enjoyed getting to play with them. And we're really trying to pound the ball.
Did you guys win that game?
Miami always has a crazy home record in September because the teams come down there and it's hot and humid and they just kind of like wilt, right? Like being a Raiders fan, I remember a couple games in 01, 02 where you played with them.
And we wore the white jerseys and both.
Yeah. You would make the Raiders wear the fucking black jerseys, and then like by the fourth quarter they'd be like dying out there in the heat and humidity, right? So I remember that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what was your first welcome to the NFL moment? Like when you got your ass just beat down, you're like, holy shit, dude. And in a regular season game, you're like, fuck, I just got fucked up.
Honestly, during practice, I had Trace Armstrong, Jason Taylor, had some really good defenses.
Those were insane.
So, in my rookie year, and they were both like, if they weren't number one and number two in sacks in the NFL, they were like they were right there. Top three. And so they were great. And I remember, Trace, they were both such good technicians, and you get your pads up and pass pro, and they could all quickly just turn into you with both hands and just pick you up and
just move you. Just like you're going over here.
It's embarrassing when you get trucked like that on pass protection.
Right, and you're a big guy. You're 6'8", like probably 300 pounds.
You basically, out of pride, you try to pull them down on top of you.
Yeah, because also Zach Thomas was the linebacker.
Yeah, they're gonna throw the flag on.
But Zach Thomas he was a thumper. OG with that, like he had the neck collar thing. I love linebackers that have that shit.
But no, to answer your question, honestly, my rookie year, I was having a pretty good year, and then I want to say November, maybe we had played the Colts already once, I believe, and I had a good game. And I overlooked them. The second time we're going to play, I was like, I had those guys all day. There was
they're easy marks.
I looked at it that way. And this one guy, old NFL vet, wasn't the fastest or anything like that, and wasn't really that strong either. But he'd been watching me and studying me, and I hadn't been doing the same thing for him. He knocked my hands down twice. I think I gave up 2 sacks. That was
shit.
Then play him in the playoffs. I'm like, can't let this happen again.
Your O-line. Go ahead.
You're big for an O-lineman, even. So it's like you're probably like naturally kind of like, hey, I got what worked before is going to work again. Stone versus stone. But he pulled a trick on you.
And I bet your O-line coach was on your ass in the playoffs again. So I was like, hey, this ain't going to happen again, right?
No. So, no, it didn't. Everything was fine. But, yeah, that was that. But I overlooked the guy. He just looked – you looked at him on the field. You wouldn't think much of the guy.
And actually, Todd's been really successful in real estate. So, afterwards. So how did you decide what we were going to do after your career? Because that's always a tough decision.
Hang on. Before we
can get to that. Let's talk football for a little more first.
Yeah, I want to hang on. ATV's like, hang on, fuck your NFL career.
No,
I'm intrigued, man. I'm intrigued. Now every day I get to talk to a freaking one of the. Honestly, like from what I've read and what I can hear, we're one of the more dominant offensive tackles in the NFL for I say the good part of 4 years. You know, like you were honestly an icon on the Miami O line. So
Um,
I mean that's why Texas
you
took
know,
a huge
Well,
Houston took a huge bid on you.
Okay, I'll
you
go
know?
back. In 2002, actually, Ricky Williams, he came to Miami,
Huh?
and he led the league in rushing. So, like, Todd could tell you this. Like, I think
Right.
Williams had like 1,800 yards.
No, yeah, and before that, I think what's his face had like 1,000+ yards running
That was Lamar.
with his O line.
yeah,
Did you have Ronnie Brown too at some point down there?
that
Was
was
that after?
That was after.
That was
Okay.
after.
Yeah.
So walk me through your first postseason game. You're in the playoffs. Like what was going on just in game, and what was your emotions during that?
You kind of don't know how to take the playoffs, but then you see how the team is. Like the team's excited, you're excited. You're kind of watching everything as it happens.
Right.
And you just see like then I mentioned the speed of the game picking up for regular season, but it's even though everybody's giving it all, even regular season games too.
Right.
Generally, playoffs it is even seen because it was it's like it could be your last one.
Right. So walk me through your first postseason. Were you a rookie in your first postseason?
Yeah.
Okay, and you guys won your guys' first game against the Colts, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Was that in Indy or in Miami?
That was in Miami.
Okay.
Wild card.
So you guys play your first wild card. You guys beat Indy. That's a big deal. You're going to the divisional round now.
Is that Manning?
Okay.
Manning.
So you guys,
it was a really big win for us.
right? What? So you guys beat the Colts. That's a big fucking deal. Miami fucking did without Dan Marino. That's big. So you guys, who did you guys face right after that next week?
It was Raiders.
Raiders. We had to fly out to Oakland.
So tell me, like, you guys' game plan going into Oakland, and then the game that unfolded while you guys were playing in Oakland.
Speaking of Oakland, it was funny at the time. We'd watch us end zone cut up. What an offensive line group watches is basically behind the line. The camera cut.
Yeah.
Why you're not watching the wide angle from the sidelines. You're watching basically the behinds of the offensive linemen.
Right.
We were watching a game. It was at Oakland. It was maybe a couple of weeks prior. Some team. You're watching them. And there's going towards their end zone. You can see this like the black hole and all this stuff.
The crazy guys.
It had some referee like dummy and a noose, and they're yanking them. So you could see right under the goalpost. It was intense. You're like, man, you could see the crowd. It was rocking. Like, all right, so we knew we were going into that.
Yeah, you're going into the seventh ring of hell. So, you're going in there.
Yeah, and like the stadium's a shithole, but it's like also like rock.
You got to play on the baseball field.
We went in there to do our thing. We didn't come in with a special game plan.
Did you guys win that shit or no?
No, they lost.
No, we fumbled the ball early on. They picked it up, ran it in.
Yeah.
Defense wasn't really quite. It wasn't their day, and offense really wasn't generating much either. So it was a bad one.
So how do you pick yourself up from a playoff loss like that? I always wondered that about NFL players, because your season's just over. All that hard work is done.
Yeah,
how do you pick yourself up?
Like I said, as a rookie, it's just like the way I looked at it is like, okay, so now season's over with. So I'm just thinking, okay, what do I do now? So I'm just kind of, and it's really is you get back there, and it's like, people are.
Actually, in the 2000 season, if I can remember, it's just another loss. I don't want to dwell on this, but you played in that Monday night game against the Jets, right? Yeah. This is a really awesome game.
Monday night. That's the Monday night miracle game.
Yeah. Where Vinny Testaverde just got like super hot, and he just like, Wayne Corbett. I don't know if people remember this game, but
we were up like 30-3 with like 8 or 9 minutes left in the game. And we lost.
Yeah. It was like a crazy. I actually remember this. Yeah.
That's it. we tightened up offensively. It was your typical game, and then the defense was they didn't really have an answer.
But can I ask you a question? Like, and because I remember those Dolphins teams because they had like a really good defense and run game. Like I talked about Ricky Williams earlier, but like I know Jay Fielder was a quarterback, right?
Mhm.
Was there ever like this like feeling in the team that like the defense is carrying the team and the offense is just kind of along for the ride? Like, is there any of that division in the locker room when you're playing on a team like that, or?
I mean, yeah, it exists, but I wouldn't say that was a big issue for us. Now, although our defense did get more, it got more attention than our offense, because we weren't just, we're a balanced offense, and we tried to pound the ball.
Oh yeah.
We,
Well, I
we,
remember Chris Chambers.
our defense was great for us, but some of those games though that's sometimes the wheels fall off and the defense just isn't playing well either. I mean, I want to say in 03 we played 02 or 03 played at Buffalo. It was that snow game where it was completely white out. I could barely make out the jersey number of the Bills defensive end. It was Chidi Yohanatu. I could barely read his jersey number. It was that thick. But with that game though, Ricky rushed for 220, 30.
That's insane.
And we lost.
I actually remember that game. Yeah.
And we lost the game.
That's crazy.
So what wasn't our fault.
Hey, there you go. Hey man, hey coach, like chill, man. It wasn't our problem.
Like I'm Canadian.
So
I'm from Hamilton, which is near Buffalo. My dad used to watch like OJ in the 70s, right? And he'd be like OJ would have these games because the Bills were, whatever, not a good team, and he'd run for like 200 something yards and they'd lose. Like it's not OJ or whatever the offense's fault when that happens. So
yeah, that's always a tough one.
So I got a question for you, sir. So you're in Miami for about 4 years, correct? And then you sign a contract with the Texans. Right. And I think reading from your statistics and what happened with you media-wise, that was kind of more of like the downhill spiral of your career.
Sure.
Right. Because
you had some injuries, right?
Yeah, that's when injuries start popping up for him. And I think they designated you as the worst transactional, I would guess, we call it, personnel that they picked up on, because I think they did a thing with what's the worst transactional like personnel that a team's picked up since the beginning of their franchise. Yeah. They ranked you as number 1 for the Texans.
Oh, sure.
So like, walk me through your mindset during that time period.
I was there for basically about 2 years. So yeah, and I was getting ready for the next mini camp, but I was still for the next training camp, but I had a knee injury from the year prior.
Yeah.
In November of that year. So no, multiple high ankle sprains that, another thing that to me, just personally affected me was we went from, I've been lifting free weights my whole career, and we went to machines, and I never felt the same after that, which I almost,
really,
yeah, you don't feel explosive. You feel and there were good intentions behind that, but the weight coach didn't want this whole thing protecting your spine or protecting you for later in life. But if that's kind of what got you there, is training like that, the clean squats,
right?
And you stop doing that. That's, for some people, you're definitely not going to be as explosive as you once were.
Maybe stick with what's working.
And for those who don't know, like a high ankle sprain can be just as bad as like a broken ankle. Like
I did some crazy stuff to try to play in Houston. I mean, I saw this Vietnamese man. They kind of got like a recommendation about how get through an injury, and man, it was a pretty bad ankle sprain. I pushed myself to get back early. So this time I was okay. So this first time it was killing me. I couldn't be out there, and I didn't know how to handle it. Yeah.
How did you handle it?
I never really hurt in Miami. I had an MCL sprain one game, one game, but that was it. But no. So, guy just he had like Evander Holyfield and some other athletes on his wall in his office. But his whole philosophy is to not let scar tissue form, basically to break it up. So, but you use like lidocaine and B12 or something like that mix. Oh, anyway, he hit your ankle 20, 30 shots, place your whole lower leg, and then you start cranking on it.
All right.
Oh yeah, you
train
get
it.
the little thing, and then you ice it up. It was it wasn't enough time for it to even heal for the next game.
Yeah.
There lasted one drive.
Oh shit.
And then I missed like the next 1 or 2 games. Then anyway, it wasn't
So,
good.
After the downfall in Houston, did you
Mhm.
kind of know your career was over, or did you try?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you tried to get on other teams. You did, your due diligence
It wasn't honestly. It wasn't the same to me as what it once was.
in Miami.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I can tell your heart's still in Miami, honestly.
Well, it got to a point where I didn't like you don't feel like you're a part of another team.
You're a hindrance.
Yeah, it's just not. You don't really you feel like you're kind of almost an outsider. That's
Right.
kind of Washington. I was friends with everybody on the team.
Of course, yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just felt like kind of like it didn't. I feel like a real free agent.
Do you wish you would have stayed in Miami, honestly, instead of going to Houston?
Well, it's just woulda, coulda, but it was also a strange thing with my agent and the general manager at the time. It was kind of had a way of kind of letting some players not mentioning renegotiate or trying to get you back, re-sign you until like the last minute. So you're like worried, or you do something.
Of course. Yeah, it's your career. Yeah.
So I took it kind of was like, yes.
Well, but when he went to Washington, I was talking to him.
So it was just kind of, I felt like it was just time to go.
I was talking about him when he went to Washington. One of his last years was an interesting year. There was a quarterback named Todd Collins, and so Washington was 6-7, and Jason Campbell got injured, right?
Sure.
And then Todd Collins comes in, and he hadn't played in 10 years. Like, he played for the Bills. He was kind of a second-round pick. He was supposed to replace Jim Kelly. He kind of was a bust. And then he just bounced around the league as a backup. And Todd Collins won the last 3 games for Washington, and they made the playoffs, right? So that was, I think that's
a good arm. He spent some time in the Bahamas. I know
he was telling me Todd Collins like fishes in the Bahamas. I didn't even know that. I had no clue.
I haven't seen or talked to him in years, but yeah, that's when before I left Washington.
So I kind of want some inside baseball with you, sirs, because I can tell deep down you're a Dolphins. You're a Dolphins, to the day you die. That's the team that you were sounding with the most. I can just kind of tell by how you talk about them so highly.
I would say just one, we were successful there.
Right.
We you wish you could have gone playoffs every year, but but my first 2 years went to the playoffs. The next 2 years we should have. We're 9-7 1 year and 10-6 another year, and didn't go.
Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah.
So that was tough. But we were a good competitive team. Where I went afterwards, it was more of a struggle. We did make to the wild card away game in Washington.
That year was just
Is your heart still in there though, or do you still like support the team? Do you still root for them, or are you kind of just you got your own team that you go for now, or are you still a Dolphins hardcore?
We'll probably go to a Dolphins game this year. They do Nat Moore does a great job with their alumni relations there. So they touch them. But really, the biggest thing for me, more than anything, is just get to see former friends of mine.
Right.
And for those who aren't aware, like Nat Moore, he was a receiver from like the mid '70s the late 80s for the Dolphins.
So
right?
I got a question for you, sir. A little controversial here. What's your take on Tyreek Hill quitting on the team and then trying to come back and create a relationship? And two is like, you know what? It's not that easy, bro.
No, yeah.
What's your as an O lineman? What's your take on that? Honestly,
Not a big fan of that. Not a big
right.
fan. I would have to someone that had to be really.
Have you ever had a player do that in your career on your team?
No.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, I have a question. What was Ricky Williams like? Because I know he.
Yeah. He was gonna say something. What were you gonna say?
Like that. I mean, I'm sure there's a case where someone had thought about quitting football. Just they were sad or something
Right.
out for them, and they were quietly about to do it, and then they decided not to. I mean, I'm sure that's happened, but no, not with all the media attention and all. I've never heard. No.
Well, that and like on top of that, I mean, he quit on the team during the game, and not quit on the team, but he said, "I'm not coming back here next year." It's like, dude, these are your brothers, these are your boys. You do that privately if you have any issues with it. You don't just say it to the media. And on top of that, I mean, you're still under contract. I don't know. I think that was the wrong way to go about it, and I think that really disrupted the whole entire locker room to some extent. To this year, there's still issues.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you're
probably not going to be good. I mean, it can only be equal or bad, probably.
Well, even today with the Raiders, I don't know if you know, Todd, who Jacoby Myers is, the wide receiver.
Yes.
Yeah, he had like 1,000. He's like, he wants to be traded now, but I'm like, you have 1 year left in your contract, and he's making good money. He's making like $15 million a year. It's like you do that like 2 weeks before the season. That's ridiculous, in my opinion.
That is. No, I totally disagree with that.
I agree with you 100%.
You're gonna hold. I think if you're gonna hold out, I think you should be a free agent. I don't think if you're under contract, to me, you stick with it. But
and like
right.
also like
this integrity.
Realize, like 20 years ago. So just quickly, Mir, like people were making a lot less money. It's not like the old days. Like
no, I know.
When they were making no money, but they were still making a lot less money than these guys make now. And that's when I think it gets like kind of ridiculous too, is when we were making all that money, like to do this kind of thing. And I understand there's more money involved, but like Todd, I don't know how much you made, but you probably made like some of these guys are probably a lot lesser players than you, make more in 2 years than you made probably your whole career, right?
100%. I saw something the other day, like a lineman that that was incredible. I don't even remember the number, but I don't know.
Oh, backup swing
40
tackles can make like 6 million, like just for a backup. So it's like,
wow.
I don't know. Just
starters
kind
make crazy money.
It kind of disturbs me though. It's just like I'm sure back in the early 2000s, players weren't. I mean, I understand like Trey Dickerson, or how you pronounce his last name, going through contract disputes, or Hendrickson or whatever, or Micah Parsons going through contract disputes, because they play so a certain way and they want to get paid for it. But when you have players who are already under contract, trying to already dissolve their contract and or disputing it with the ownership, which within itself breaks down the locker room or creates headlines that the team doesn't need. Was that going on a lot in the early 2000s when you were playing, or were players back then more, I would say, respectful of the dynamics of the societal things that were going on in the locker room, not to put that on you guys?
Yeah, it wasn't. There wasn't as much of that.
Really, right. There was more respect. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember my rookie year, they had not come to me about even though I was a second round pick, but they waited. I guess, well, that might have been Rick Spillman's way of doing it, but he waited kind of last minute to sign me. So I'm basically living on borrowed money, when you, unless you have just cash out of college. Now with NIL, you don't need to borrow anything, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the time, just something to get you to like July or August, whenever you start, or when the season starts and you start getting a paycheck or signing bonus, whatever. And so I had not signed with them. I just been drafted by them. So it ended up was right before training camp. I mean, a day before, and it was like, all right, agent tells me, hey, you're probably just going to hold you out until they resolve this. You're the 53rd pick in the draft, and the 52nd pick. It's all slotted generally in that order of how people get paid.
And I have a question. What do you think of the rules now too? Because I'm like, we're the same age basically. So like, I like old school football where like,
well, the QB gets his head knocked off, and then
that guy from the Browns like dropped Cherry Bradshaw on his head and stuff.
Nah, bro. I don't know.
So, but what do you think about it now? Because now it's like you can't touch the quarterback, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Right,
and I know there's the whole CTE and concussion thing.
Yeah, but the refs, you're like not CTE, the
roughing.
No, roughing, but the targeting.
Yeah, targeting.
I think the refs get too much power with that to kick somebody out of the game. I think that I disagree with that. 15 yards, 30 yards, whatever you want to do, but I don't think the player should be kicked out of the game for it.
Yeah, you just get a personal foul penalty. That's it.
A lot of them aren't. You can tell they're not intentional, but the ref says it is.
I hate that shit, dude.
When the official says that, it's just it's
that cost the Eagles a game back in 2023.
Absolutely, can cost.
Yeah, I mean they can control the outcomes more now with some of the stuff. But Todd, I want to get back to your playing days 1 second. Ask you kind of like, who are some of the guys that hit the hardest? Who are some of the guys that you became like buddies with, or your favorite guys to play with in the league? And who are like the biggest douchebags you played against or something? like maybe one of each. Like
someone you want to call out, you have animosity towards.
I know you played during Ray Lewis's time, so.
Oh, that's right, dude.
Yeah,
MVP.
You probably came across him a time or two, right?
Yeah, but not just in those type of one-on-one type situations.
Sure.
Right? But I didn't have he was the reason I sprained my shoulder. I didn't miss any time, but I had to wear like a shoulder brace for the rest of the year. He basically about second year we played them, and I caught him on a zone play, and instead of him trying to play over top like most linebackers do, he decided to cut back to try to make a play on the inside, and I stuck my left hand out and caught his chest while he's going by me. So it hyper extended it back. So I had like a little harness I had to wear for the rest of the year.
So, okay, on the D line then, who had the best moves, best player that you personally went up against?
Strahan used to bring it.
Michael Strahan, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, Giants, baby.
His bull rush was probably the best ever.
Actually, because you were talking about the Raiders, they used to have two guys named, and actually, because Chow here is a Vikings fan, Reagan Upshaw and Lance Johnstone. I don't know if you remember those guys. Yeah, like they were like the late hit guys too. By the way, I don't know if you remember that.
Guys.
Yeah, you could kind of do that back then. Like I remember like Lance Johnstone would like hit you 5 yards out of bounds. He didn't give a shit. So
Raiders are always known for that shit.
So.
Okay, so Strahan was about top tier on that. What about your time in the league? Who are some of the guys that like were the best characters or buddies that you played with?
Let's say it was guys. It was just generally just guys on my team, and not just on the team play football, but it might have been a trainer or equipment manager, whoever. We're all everybody was just kind of friends, and you kind of did your own thing. And also like when I lived in Fort Lauderdale, I had local friends as well, so that kind of got me in the water, doing more saltwater stuff. And
we do have to what was like partying with Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, that was one. That was one too. But that was in Palm Beach at Dr. Feelgoods.
So let's bring it to that real quick. The party vibes. We got a question from Nice Podcast Stupid. Hey Todd, how was the Strange down in South Beach in 2005? Hey.
Guy's an idiot, just so you know. So.
05. Oh, 05, I was actually gone, but I did go back, all season every once in a while, go see old friends and
So
stuff.
what was like Ricky Williams like? Because I know he had like he was kind of like he had social phobia and he was a little bit of a strange character. He's a great running back. Because he's actually the closest thing I've ever seen to Earl Campbell, where he's big, fast, can run over people, But he also had this personality where off the field he's a very kind of like soft-spoken type person, And I know he had social phobia and a bunch of like psychological issues as well.
People have asked me a lot of times, about his personality, and I always compare him a little bit to Prince.
I think that's a good comparison.
I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, it's just like he is very he wasn't someone you call Ricky, you'll have a beer on Monday night, but he was a great teammate. It's funny. He was never late, but I'd watch him. He'd be the last one to walk in the room for a team meeting, but he would never be late.
He got there right on time.
He'd have his helmet off during the huddle, fooling with his helmet, like his chin strap, and he'd listen to the play. And if that was me, I'd be freaking out, thinking I wouldn't have it fixed by the time got set.
Right.
And my helmet falls off or something. Well, he's just back there casually, just snapping on. You see it right before the ball snaps. He's like, click. So
different kind of guy, definitely. So.
Yeah.
He had an interesting career because after he got suspended because he was weed, or he retired for a year or two, and he played in Canada for like a year, and then he came back for the Dolphins, and he was. I remember one year. This is after you were gone, but Ronnie Brown got injured, and he had 1,100 yards in his early 30s. And actually, this is an interesting question I'd like to ask you is, I think one thing that lengthened Ricky Williams' career was kind of taking a year or two off, right? Sure. Your body can heal.
I wish I could have done that, but if you're not Ricky Williams, they might forget about you. So not everybody gets that, because I actually thought about it, and I really, even though I've been hurt a good bit at that point, but it wasn't something that was just holding me back from. I didn't have any. I wasn't walking with a limp or anything. In other words, I felt, but I felt like I needed just to get back in the, power.
On the opposite end, you played with a running back in Houston named Dominic Davis, and I guess he changed his name to Dominic Williams. He's from LSU. I'm an LSU fan, by the way. Sorry, I know you're from Mississippi. So,
he's a good player.
He had 3,200 yards in 3 years, and then he got hurt, and he never played again. So that's a weird career, where guys running for 1,000 yards a year for 3 years, and then he just kind of disappears.
Yeah. I would have thought it because he was a good back for us in Houston. Really was.
Yeah, and especially Houston didn't have a lot of weapons at that time too. So.
Right. But he was solid. He was a really good running back.
Actually, and that's the last question I'd like to ask you, right, just on this segment here is that what's it like, because my actually favorite football player of all time is Dick Butkus, right? And he was defensive MVP on a team that went 1-13, So what's it like when you're on a team, you're not going to be good, you're not going to win, and you have to go out there every day? What's your mentality? Okay, we're going to go 2-14.
It's tough. That would be tough. It really gets bad when it's like that and it's mid-season and you're not gonna, it's not looking like you're going to the playoffs.
Once you kind of get eliminated, and then it's
coaches are getting
fired.
Yeah. They're thinking they might get fired, so people start kind of pointing the fingers at each other. It starts getting really kind of nasty. So it's never when you see a record that's 2-14 or
You're like, oh shit, someone's got to burn for this.
And just so you know, I think the last season that Todd was on Houston, they went 2-14. So
Salem witch trials over here.
Yeah. Well, seriously, it was so bad when I got hurt. It kind of like put me out of my misery.
Right. Yeah. So I kind of want to transition into picking divisional picks because I'm sure you. Go ahead. We want to say something?
I got one question, personal question for Todd. So once you're the game, your time, you had a long career, you're done playing the game of football, but you decided to get into politics, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I had a little, like in my 30s, kind of had a little,
a little juice in that.
So what was the philosophy behind looking into that or getting involved with that?
I think initially you kind of get asked, you might have something and you get asked, and then you start kind of looking at things, and it kind of depends on what you're doing in life at that time. And that time I really was kind of fresh out of football, and wasn't doing just a whole lot. I felt like I could devote a lot of time to it, but didn't work out. So I kind of, would never say never, but doesn't appeal to me like it once did.
Yeah, it's a shit show.
Like
bro.
ATP said, you ended up getting into business after you're done playing days. So
So actually, just before we ask him do our picks, so how did you got into real estate? And he literally lives like down the road from me. So how did you like get into real estate, and then how did you like end up like deciding to buy a house in Eleuthera?
Okay, so I guess it's all kind of related. When I quit playing football and moved back to Oxford, I didn't know what I want to do or anything, and started investing in real estate, looking at starting rental houses. So college students, it was a strong market there in a really good college town. So that's kind of where I got started with that. Looked at apartments, and then bought storage, and then built storage, and then but not just not like in a big scale or anything. Just kind of I was just doing my thing for a while, kind of solo, and now I don't manage any of the real estate anymore, but I manage 2 storage facilities, and they're back in Oxford because now I'm in Vero Beach. So we moved down here.
You told me you're in Florida now, so you're closer now. So
in May, So which that all kind of relates. So, but as far as Eleuthera, we've been going to Bahamas. I've been going to Bahamas since I was with the Dolphins, and this kind of I was the
for
only
those
guy.
who don't know, like Wayne Huizinga, the Dolphins owner. Actually, I did these videos with Barstow, and we actually went to his house there. When we did these videos, he owned a house in Harbor Island, and he used to take the team down. Right? I remember seeing the plane. You see the plane with the Miami Dolphins insignia, like on the back.
I remember he had that one. They had the helmet on his tail. But not. They did something that they didn't. At least not my era. They didn't take us there. But I ended up getting over to Harbor Island at a different time with some other people, and went back and forth a good bit. But what got me going with all that was when I took a boat. I was the only guy on the team that lived east of 95. Everybody else kind of lived in the suburbs, and I wanted to be closer to the water. So I had a little condo with a boat slip. Ended up taking a little boat, taking it to Bimini for the first time. And once I kind of did that, even after I left Miami, and that kind of never got out of my head. So that's kind of why I'm almost back in Vero. I'm back down. That's why I'm back in Florida, because I was actually. But anyway, fast forwarding, I started flying, learned to fly, kind of because I wanted to come back here and do these things when I wasn't, busy doing things in Oxford, Mississippi. So I would come, whether I'm going fishing, spear fishing, whatever, going. Started flying down. I flew down to Fort Lauderdale, did a free diving level 1 course, then came back, did a level 2 course.
Oh, cool.
Went with Ryan Myers, really good free divers, spear fisherman. Basically found him on YouTube, picked him up in Fort Lauderdale. Then I flew both of us had a single engine Piper Saratoga. Used to fly over there, and we went over there and we dove Dean's Blue Hole. Then we'd go to practice in the morning. Then we'd go out and apply the spearfishing in the afternoon. All on those reefs there off Long Island. Really cool island, by the way. It's a lot like Luther. Just a little more. Actually,
a little less people, a little less going on. So
yeah. And so I'd have kind of seen all over the Bahamas, and around 2021, something came up. I was looking up something. I wasn't like looking to buy anything in the Bahamas. It's always something you kind of looked at, but you didn't, unless you got the money, you're ready to make that move. You just kind of something in your dreams, which you're kind of looking at for fun. Looking at big boats and things like that. So this ad popped up, and I might have been looking up like Surfers Beach, or I think I saw something on surfing on TV, and I was like, I remember that place in Eleuthera. What was that place called? And real estate ad popped up, and the first house that was featured was the house that I ended up buying.
Damn straight, yeah.
But so that's kind of how it got all started there.
And then you ran into David. You guys,
he's never been to my place. It's just so you know, like these guys are going to come and visit me in February. I have a big Super Bowl party, so they're going to come. These two, and just Mir is a big Eagles fan. So
yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I got my Terrell Owens jersey on, man. We're ready to party, baby.
Yeah,
old good OTO.
That was a special time when Terrell Owens was in Philly.
Really?
That was funny. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Overall with Terrell Owens in there. I wish they would have done something to do. Fuck Andy Reid, bro. He can't win it with us, and he goes and wins it with KC. Dude, fuck that fat fuck, bro.
You guys got enough rings lately, but
no, we're about to repeat.
Well, Chow's a Vikings fan, so he doesn't know anything about rings.
Yeah. But, no, I want to ask you one thing about the Oxford. So you're Ole Miss, but you grew up being a Dolphins fan and you're Dolphins alumni. But you said you went back to Oxford. So are you still a big SEC Ole Miss guy?
Yeah.
To this day? That's your team, isn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, we had a few fans in the chat asking about how Ole Miss is going to be this year. Like
we have a new quarterback, Jackson Dart is now with the Giants. So
he looked really good in the preseason.
Dude, I thought Jackson Dart was going to turn up. I mean, I know he did turn up, but I wish Ole Miss would have done much better than they did last year. I thought they were going to be freaking maybe going to the main game, but
yeah, they should have. I think the offense. I think there's some things that were. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I always have been for a lot more. I'll say that. Yeah. They definitely had the talent to do it, and I feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Right, but like you said, though, Jackson Dart's gone, so what's going to happen there, do you think?
Is the backup from last year, Austin Simmons, is supposed to be really good. He filled in last year for Dart. He really did. He came in one game against Georgia when we beat them in Oxford, and he came in for one drive, but he came in there just stone cold, just pass, boom, 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 and scored. It looked like the position belonged to him. That was the kind of statement he made. So it's been assumed he's going to be the starting quarterback. I don't know how well he's been doing. I really haven't kept up with it enough. I think just because of the move coming here, and and just being busy and all that stuff, and I do know there's the backup to him, to Austin. I don't know his name. He's been doing really well. So they have a legit quarterback competition going on. I think the defense will be pretty good. I just don't know. We'll see about the offensive line. The receivers are going to be great, but just don't know about the line yet.
Did you see them rank Texas #1 with Archie Manning?
Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, I don't understand that.
But Todd, I've actually I was going to ask you.
Go ahead.
We've had this discussion in a group chat that we have. Like, so the Saints are going to be the Saints have had a lot of, like, they've been kicking the can.
He's not going anywhere, bro.
And so I was just saying, if the Saints do pick #1,
or the Colts, and Daniel Jones falls apart.
Yeah. So like, I think the Saints are going to be terrible because they've had salary cap problems.
Tyler Shuck's tough, dude. Don't shit on him, bro.
I like Tyler, but like what I'm saying is the Saints do pick #1, and like Arch
He's
Manning.
seasoned.
How can you not do that, right? Because his granddad.
No, he's not going anywhere. He's not
Yeah,
going
yeah,
anywhere.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
I know.
yeah. Todd, what's your take on that? You saw how Archie Manning Sr. said, Archie's not going anywhere. His family said he's not going anywhere. Then Archie came out. Manning Jr. came out and said,
it's different.
hang on. And he said, Archie Manning Jr. came out and said, well, I don't know why they're speaking for me. Who knows what's going to happen? Do you think Archie's going to stay another year in Texas before he, goes to the draft? Or do you think he might be, or do you think he's just going to go straight out of freaking this 1 year? Because no one's even seen a lot about him. I mean, we haven't seen too much.
That's the whole thing. I think it's just kind of it's almost pointless even.
It's a soap opera at this point.
Yeah,
it is
at this point. And
he's going to stay. That's it.
No. I got a conspiracy. He goes to Ole Miss next year. That's what he's got to do because his uncle, his grandpa.
He's got to do the rounds.
And then you guys win the national championship next year. That'd be if it happens, we can go back to this moment. But
that's good.
Yeah, Todd Wade said it here first with Dr. Chow. He does the rounds.
But so yeah, you're Ole Miss like that. Because I lived down in the Panhandle for a while, and that's SEC country. But it's all the different teams are all around. Everyone's kind of a different fan around there. But
that's right.
Yeah, and so did you live in Oxford for a little bit after your playing days when you were managing, or you were just managing the properties?
No, so when I quit playing football, 2008 was my last season. So in 2009, I moved to Oxford, and I had a condo there. Didn't know really. I'm just going to stick around here for a little bit and kind of see what I want to do, whatever. And you run into old friends, people that are still there. And just kind of getting a groove. Want to kind of start coming up with little business ideas, kind of things like local things, and a lot of people. Then I get to meet my wife and all, and we stay there. So until this year.
Well, Todd, I don't know if you know a guy named.
I'm born and raised in Mississippi, there. So I went.
Right.
I don't know, Todd, if you know a guy named Stu Schwager. He was a safety for the Raiders from 2004. He actually would have played against him. Actually,
yeah.
So he's kind of a friend of mine. He did that. He was with the Raiders, and then he went to Purdue, and he moved back to West Lafayette like after his career. He still lives there to this day. So, and because he was living in Oakland, San Francisco, and he was just like the real estate and everything there was so much cheaper.
Sure.
That's why he moved back.
Well, Oxford's a great little town. Enjoyed it. Family liked it. It was just more. We just happened to be kind of saltwater people when it comes. Well, it seems like we're doing when we take vacations or go somewhere. We're always heading this way.
And by the way, because you do come to Lutheran, what do you think of all the crazy people that live here, like me? So
yeah, what do you think about these psychopaths?
There's no shortage of them. Let's just say that.
There's no shortage of crazy.
So we've learned a little of Eleuthera through Dave.
Yep.
But and the documentaries the Barstool documentaries are great because it kind of tells. But it does. From what I've been reading since we're going, it's like it does have a specific vibe, and most of it centers around nature. And then also just like you're basically like
drinking all day.
It's well, you can do that, but it's also just just secluded basically. So
it really is. You kind of it's a very do it yourself.
Todd's met Morgan a few times. Captain Morgan, the guy.
Yeah, and Morgan's been on the show, bro.
Yeah,
Morgan's
Morgan's been on the show. Morgan. I don't know if you know Todd this, but
has he finessed through your liquor cabinet yet, Todd?
He's a crazy. He is a raging alcoholic. So,
he's a good. He's a good guy.
But
he's a good guy though. So
as long as you have liquor, he's a good guy.
But it's been really nice. I love like Eleuthera. It's just you just do your own thing and
right.
And there's really you never get bored really. If you like doing things outdoor and doing things with your hands.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You know,
And I'm sure
you
the
can
nature
get an
preserves
idea.
are beautiful too. You know,
Fish from the shore. You can come up with ideas to do, other kinds of things. It's just
Todd, did you
being-
get Starlink yet here?
I do.
Yeah. Me too. That changed my life here because like now my
Yeah.
internet's super fast and like
That is nice. And it's a discount there compared to the U.S. too.
yeah.
How long are you typically trying to stay out there for? Like roughly. You got seasons you go, or you just pop in and out?
I'll pop in and out, but
Yeah.
but we do as a family go on a couple certain trip, specific trips during the year. Like on the December 6th, we'll be there to the 6th of January or something like that. Middle of June or something like that. We'll go there for 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. So it's I like those long stays because you really just settle in.
Well, you got to come during Super Bowl because these guys are going to come, and I have a big Super Bowl party. So, like, you got to come. You're a Dolphins fan. I'm a Raiders fan. They're not going to be in the game. So,
come watch football.
There's a good chance. There's a good chance I could be there. 100%.
Cool.
Hey, Tom, what do you think about the Dolphins coach? Like that little.
Yeah. Hang on. Go ahead. What's your take on that guy? Honestly, hang on. Imagine.
Who the fuck has he ever hit? Come on.
Imagine that guy coaching you in the early 2000s. What do you think of that guy? Honestly, come on.
Say this. It's one thing him being the head coach, but it's not like all the assistants are the exact same. Since this teams I've been with, it's always the assistants. That's who you got to deal with as a player.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a offensive line coach. That's just a load.
Actually, so when you were in Washington, what was Joe Bugle like? Because he's like a Hall of Fame. I know he passed away a few years ago, but
he was very demanding and
Hard knocks.
Yeah. He was tough. He was tough.
Because for those who don't know,
I learned a few. You have a number of offensive line coaches in your career if you're an offensive lineman, and you learn a little something from each one that really helps you.
Yeah.
And one learned from him towards the end of my career. I've thought about it a lot over the years, and I see things. I've kind of never forgotten anything of value that I've ever picked up from an offensive line coach.
No, on offensive line, I've heard this a lot. They're usually the smartest guys, and there's usually the most complexity to depending on what type of scheme the team runs. I listened to some former Vikings guys who two O linemen who do like an O line committee show, and I think that's like the most under or at least understood part of football is line play.
Underappreciated, yeah.
Yeah, like people just watch football and they're the fantasy mindset.
They don't even pay attention to that
They
shit.
know yards, but they don't know zone blocking scheme. And
Right.
So is that true? Like the O-line, you almost have to deal with the most complexity, or is there another position that's kind of on par?
I think you're right. There's a lot to it, and it takes years to kind of really get good at it. Just like a lot of positions, but it's very it is all technique, and athleticism certainly helps. So does strength, but it's a craft you get to keep working on until you quit playing. And it always comes back to the basics. Your footwork, your leverage, your hand placement.
And that's the thing, public teams will, now that gambling is like huge for sports. I don't partake, but I know like a team might get a flashy wide receiver in free agency, and then everyone's like, oh, it worked for the Eagles last year. They got Saquon, an offensive feature player, and it rose above. But the teams that have the most developed offensive line, like they have Hall of Famers on the line in the Eagles. They have the last few
we
years.
got Lane Johnson.
Becton last year was amazing, just coming out of nowhere. So like you almost see like you guys don't get the best offensive linemen. The average Joe fan isn't even going to know who they are necessarily because they don't get touchdowns or fantasy points, but they're also some of the highest paid guys, like a great left tackle. It's like,
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of, flexing my football knowledge for the fans that are watching.
I'm going to give this to Todd when he comes back here. So, because I know he did play for Washington and he played for Joe Gibbs. So I have a John Riggins jersey. So yeah. So I'm going to give you that when you're here, man. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So it's because he played for that. He played with Joe Beagle. And he was Hogs coach.
I appreciate it.
I gotta end the show here in a little bit, boys. I gotta head out of here.
But my phone's about to die.
No, you're good, Todd. So I got one more quick question for you before you leave.
You can get out of here at any time.
Real quick, Todd. I got a quick question for you. And I'm going to ask you something controversial, okay? And I want your honest take on it, okay? What is your take?
Kaepernick. Sorry.
No, not that. What is your take on Shedeur Sanders and them like stating, "Oh, it's racism, this is and that," and then they switched over from that when he played well, finally, with the Browns in that I think week 2 preseason game, and then he stunk it up. From what ATP said, he stunk it the fuck up.
The last game, awful.
And they're saying he's not going to make the team. He's garbage. The NFL's going to make a mockery of him. You're using him to showcase, hey, you don't do this, you don't do that. What is your take on Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders? And we just witnessed Shiloh Sanders try to not attack, but punch a tight end. Yeah. What's your take on these two guys, honestly?
Probably the same as most people, I think. If neither may not be good enough to play. I would definitely add it. I think Shedeur probably has some tangible skills that are really good in the NFL, but it takes some maturity and an attitude. I think what I've noticed, it seems like his mannerisms don't seem like it's almost. I don't know how much he loves the game. I don't know.
Right.
But it might be just more to me, just the vibe he puts off.
Hey, Todd.
No.
This is the best way to end off.
No, we're not done yet. Hang on.
Be quiet. Let's just watch this right now, and then.
Oh, you want to do highlights? I got you.
This is the.
Oh, my bad.
I'll add it.
Okay, this is it right here.
It says, Alinda, we won't need you. Lamar straight off the hook in overtime, 17 yards, money.
There you go.
Ball game.
That's the game we talked about earlier.
What the fuck? All right, good shit, man. I love it. I don't know what the fuck happened.
What you were saying there.
No, what I'm saying
was the right tackle, and it was over his side, by the way, that run.
Yeah, so
good man. Done, but then you see Shiloh Sanders punch a player, right? The tight end over, an excessive blocking scheme.
Well, it's one thing. It's bad as a rookie. You would be more careful of making those kind of mistakes.
And undrafted, and you're trying to get the 4th spot.
So it's more if you're gonna do something stupid and punch somebody after a play, and you penalize your own team. You would think that would be almost something a vet would do that just gets tired and doesn't care. I don't know something, but I mean, rookies do some really dumb things. But I would have been way so paranoid as a rookie,
right?
To have gotten kicked out of a game, or I would have thought that would have been it.
But Todd, and I like Dion. I have nothing against it. But do you think
he's going?
Kind of the upbringing, they grew up really rich and kind of entitled. You think there's some kind of issue with that?
Maybe so. Maybe they've been told, they're this good by him. Maybe one too many times. I don't know. It just seemed like they've always been.
Because I saw a little thing one time
by him. And
I don't know if you remember Larry Brown. He was a running back on the Skins in the early 70s, and he was from the worst part of Pittsburgh, right? So it's when you're growing up like that, you're gonna fight for every yard or whatever, to be successful. So I don't know. When you're growing up in a mansion in Dallas, it's probably a little different. Sorry, that's my opinion.
Well, if you're going to be, grow up in a mansion, whatever, it's also how much
how much freak
they gotta
athlete
be-
you are too.
they got
I
to
mean,
be.
Dion is.
You
They're
gotta
no
be-
Dion athletically.
You got to
No.
be held. Got to be held accountable. You got to know. You got to appreciate work and working for something.
Right.
Work for something to be of value to you.
And you
It's
can
the same-
attack people.
It's the same thing in football. Within the game, sometimes you'll see players kind of joking around and things like that, and they just lost a game. Sometimes you question.
I hate that, man.
If you put a lot of effort into something all week, and you come up short, you're going to be really disappointed.
I'm old school, and I'm like, do you think that Ken Stabler would ever be like joking around with Jack Lambert after a game? No way.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Well, and that's it. Bring it back to Brady. I heard he grew up like wealthy or whatever, but it's a difference between that generation and this generation. Brady was just obsessed with winning and playing football, and Sanders is like, more entitled to it, and that doesn't help. But then also like,
Sure.
Shador isn't built like Dion. Dion could play two
No.
sports professionally. He's
Not at all.
barely a tweener in the NFL. It's just,
Neither one of them are, and they're not Dion.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
MJ's kids.
Hey,
Look at
exactly. I
MJ's
was going to
kids.
say that MJ's son played D1 and
He was not
couldn't
it.
make it in the league. It's just,
Right.
So.
But I got
when Todd,
go ahead.
just quickly to end. Well, actually, when Todd was starting his career, Dion was playing for Washington, like 2000.
That's right.
2001.
That's right.
Yeah. So,
Well, Todd, it was an honor to have you on, sir. I learned a lot. It was a blessing to have you on, sir. Honestly, it was awesome to talk to you. Is there anything you want to say before we close out the show? Anything
Man.
at all?
And I appreciate it. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Of course. Yeah, we learned a lot. You guys want to say anything before we close out?
No, man. All the best to you, and
Yes.
enjoy this upcoming season from couch, and more importantly, enjoy the nature in your around the island.
and hopefully
Watch
we'll all meet in February. So.
Yeah, and watch out for Hurricane Aaron. Watch out for that.
Well, that's gone. So.
Thank you.
All right, boys. Y'all have a good one.
Okay, bye. That's great.
Peace.